What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Bit Unraveled comedy podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Hansinger, and let's get into it. Welcome back to another week of A Bit Unraveled. Super happy to kick this off with you guys and be on the other side of 2020. Very excited for my first guest kicking into this new year. He's a great friend of mine. He is a fantastic stand-up comedian, content creator, and TV writer. Let me introduce to you guys. Welcome to the podcast, Nick Perdue. Happy to see you, man.
Yeah, man.
Where are you right now? You're in LA, right?
I'm on vacation.
Are you on vacation right now?
No, I'm kidding. No, I am at my house. I've been home since December of last year, since December 2019.
Yeah,
I've just been home. Like working from home ever since. We did move. I'm not going to tell you where I moved to.
Yeah.
But we did relocate, my girlfriend and I, and it feels like a vacation. I'll just say that.
Yeah, nice. But you're still in LA, just
yes,
in an undisclosed location.
Yeah, I'll never leave LA.
Yeah. That's some nice wood grain. That's the first thing I noticed. I was like, man, that's so yeah. That's like that's like vacation wood grain, man.
Yeah. We got the lights going here outside. Got the outdoor patio. My dog is right here next to me. So yeah, it's great.
What kind of dog you have?
Okay, so here's the thing. We just did this DNA and figured out, or according to this DNA, he's part husky. It's Doberman. No, that's a lie. But it's not what we thought he was, because he looks like a lab, and we thought he was like a lab mixed with Great Dane or something like that. That's what like a lot of people who see him say that he is, and we're like, okay, we'll see. But the DNA test was like, nope, he's something completely different, and he's majority husky, which he does not look like a majority husky.
Yeah.
But so he's a mutt.
So I asked because I have a similar dog in that. So she's a border collie lab mix on paper from when we got her, but also the paperwork that we got when we rescued her from Barkin' Bitches down in Hollywood, which I don't think exists anymore, but that was the rescue place that we got. Barkin' Bitches gave us paperwork. It wasn't even the same dog that we took home. So I'm like, I can't trust the paperwork exactly.
Oh, gosh.
But she was a border collie lab mix. She may have a little bit of pit in her.
They all do.
Yeah, they
are. All these rescue dogs got, like, there was some pit bull that's just out your fucking, and I like every single dog
just smashing. He's like, that's my DNA, that's my DNA.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a little bit of pit and everything, but you're not allowed to have them in apartments and things, so you gotta lie about it.
Right. So we're all lying. Everyone who has a dog in their apartment is lying.
Yeah. Did you do the like emotional support route or anything like that?
So here's the thing.
It's a very LA thing of us to do.
See, I was going to, and then I was like starting to like look at the paperwork, or starting to like start the whole process, and I'm not gonna sit here and do all this. I'm like, it's just an extra $50 a month. I know I say that like now, where stuff is like, we probably should be saving every single penny.
Right.
But I haven't done it, and I probably just won't do it. So but we've lied on other things. But this, our dog is, we pay for him, and it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, you did it right. We did the emotional support route. I have a picture of her as a puppy, which she's obviously not anymore. And she, she supports, but she's not like super well trained. Like,
we took her everywhere.
So we definitely like took her. So we drove cross country a couple of times recently, and when we stayed at hotels, it was super helpful because they can't say no if you take an emotional support dog to a hotel. But when we took her there, she would bark at everybody walking by in the hallway. So I was like, "You're not being a very good emotional support dog right now."
You're just a regular dog. You're just
being a regular dog, and that's fine. That's fine. She didn't sign up for it. We did, so that's fine. I digress. But cool. Well, that's awesome. So you got your spot now and everything. Let's kick into things. So as I was introducing, we met each other through stand-up years back. I'm pretty sure it was at John Lovett's.
Is that where we met I don't think no.
I know we did a lot of shows
feel-
there together.
Yes, and I feel like it was either the Haha or the Laugh Factory or something. But
Yeah.
I don't because I was only at Levitt's when I had a show at Levitt's. That's the only time I really kind of
Yeah, true. I mean, wasn't anybody?
yeah. So I mean, it was they
Yeah.
gave me a show because no one else was asking for shows at.
Right. Yeah,
But I
Lovitz
had
was
a
a
show.
funny
But
place.
I had
Yeah.
a show.
But you had a show. And it was a
Yeah.
great show. I remember
Right.
doing it. Yeah, but it was definitely, yeah. I mean, it was a while ago now. It was probably, God, it was years ago.
At least seven.
It was at
Years.
least 7, yeah. But yeah, there was a haha, and I remember doing some shows up at Lovitz, which is always fun to reminisce on. Such a great space, but it just never
was
quite.
3 stories.
What's that?
It was because it was 3 stories high.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't the best for comedy, but for like music, it's great.
Right.
You know, but for like comedy and when you got people on top, like it was a shit show. But we made it work and
We made it work.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah, stage was real high. It was yeah.
Yeah. Have you been obviously like the pandemic has slowed stand up like to a halt? Were you doing a lot like going into it? Kind of backed off that a little bit?
I haven't been on stage at least for 5 years now, probably.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it's been a regret.
Yeah,
because,
really?
like now I'm like itching for it and I'm starting to write jokes and I'm like, is this even funny? You know?
Yeah.
In the shower, it's great. You know,
right.
when I tell it to myself and I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna kill.
So
you don't know. You know, you gotta go out and do the open mics and this and that. So
yeah,
I am missing that. And so I'm gonna get back to it, but I took a break just because I was like, I just can't do the grind anymore.
Totally. And that's I mean, it's something that I think about all the time. And you have been on the writing path obviously as well, which we'll talk about in a minute, but it's tough. Like it's tough it all depends what you want out of it too, you know, and it's like it's a huge grind, huge time requirement and stuff like that. It's draining. And you know, if your goal is to have an hour special, then yeah, that's what you want to do.
Right.
But you do have to know, like, is that what you want to do? Because it's, you know, you get pulled in a lot of different directions out here.
Well, and even like because now it's just different. Like you don't need an hour special. You know what I mean? Like you can build a following just on your social media, and you can put out your own hour special.
Totally. Yeah.
We've seen Tony Baker do it.
Yep.
You know, and like what Kev on stage is doing. Like we like there's people who are out there who are just shooting their own stuff and just putting it out. And so it's like you don't need that validation anymore. You know what I mean? From the Netflix or from the
totally. Yeah. Well, there's also the interesting thing of like, you know, what it takes to even get a special. And so I see some people who are getting like their credits and then working on their hour after that because the stage time comes easier and stuff like that. I mean, I think back on some of the stuff. I mean, if I had to like say, you know, put all my time together, I have like 45 to an hour, but it's stuff that I've been working on for like 8 years or more. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm the same person as when I started telling those jokes. Right. So it's an interesting, like for me, if I were to come up with an hour, I think I would almost rather get a credit, go build a new hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And it's, yeah, like you, especially now, should definitely just get these credits, right? Like what I'm thinking, and I think that's kind of what shifted me is like, let's just rack up these credits because you've seen it. You go into these clubs and it's like, oh, well, so-and-so was on Workaholics or so-and-so was on this or so-and-so was on that. And you're like, I've never seen dude, but they're getting this stage time. So it's like, that's the cheat code to, which is
100%. You know, there's a glass ceiling until you get it. And you can be super funny, but there's almost always a glass ceiling, it feels like, until you have a credit that somebody can sell you on a billboard or on their flyer as, which is interesting. But
and people hate, you know, like, that's the thing, especially if you have no credits and you're just funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's just people just hate because they're like, you know, they see the potential in you.
Right.
and
Totally.
they know they know that you're the next one,
Mm-hmm.
but you need that. It's like that credit is that, whether it's laughs or whether it's, the true TV, because like they were putting people on. I was like, well, that's all you need,
Yeah.
you know?
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. You know what? Let's talk about your credit because you had a big thing come up this year, and I'm very excited to
Yeah,
share
it's
with
great.
people. Um, let's talk about that because you have been on this writing path for a while, and you got your first episode of
My
Brooklyn
first
Nine
credit.
Nine. What's that? Your first
my,
credit, exactly. Yeah,
my
your
first
first.
credit.
You got a writing credit. You wrote the Ransom episode of Brooklyn Nine Nine, which Entertainment Weekly put up as a top 30 episodes of 2020,
Yeah, it was
and
cool. Yeah.
the writer of that, who kind of reviewed your episode, put it as the best episode of Brooklyn Nine Nine, which is that's a huge compliment. That's awesome. Uh,
I
um,
mean, look, in
if they
his
want to say it, they can say
opinion,
it. You don't
yes,
have to. You,
that's,
you can be humble.
listen, yes, and I mean, I also say this is the Emmy episode. So if we don't win an Emmy, if Andre Brower doesn't win an Emmy for writing on the top of a car,
That was amazing.
we shot it at like 2 o'clock in the morning, like the fight scene, and like it was the last day, and it was a late day, and like Andy was sick, and like no one was looking forward to this.
Yeah.
And they just gave it their all, and I was like, you too. I am so thankful just for the performance, just everything, you know what I mean? Because it's like when you put something on paper and then are able to see like people, and regardless if it's television, because you shoot shorts and skits, and
Yep.
like putting something on paper and then seeing it come to life, and then seeing how people react to it, like when I was making videos, like it's the same thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's like seeing it come to life, and then the other side of it is like seeing people like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you got to be on set for the shoot then, right?
yeah. So this was pre-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this this was when stuff was still normal, and everyone was on set. Like I was able to bring my mom to set, which was
Oh,
great.
that's awesome. Yeah.
She had a blast, and she wanted to meet Terry, so that was my only goal was to get her to meet Terry Crews, and so she was able to do that. And
You're like, Terry, can you shake your chest for my mother? Can you do the shimmy shake?
Yeah, it was the peck pop, and he definitely did it.
Yeah.
But it was it was great. It was a weird thing because like I kind of had this out of body experience, kind of like sitting there, like when they're like setting up or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there, I'm looking around, and I'm like, this is my life. Like this is like, you know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that happens like the first time I was doing the show I love it, so I was like, yo, like this is dope. Like just like little things,
Mhm.
when I was podcasting with Black Hollywood, it was just like, yo, like this is dope.
Yeah. And real quick on that, like that was probably the first podcast I ever did was your podcast on Black Hollywood Live.
Stand up, sit down, baby.
Stand up, sit down, which
Yeah.
was a super like sick professional setup that they got over there. Shout out to them. Like they're running a cool little like thing over there.
It was legit, and I like to say, because I mean nothing but love to the Black Hollywood family. But they kind of set the course, and you see now because everyone has a podcast, like I'm on your podcast. It's insane, just like, and which is great, but it's also too, it's like, like we were doing it back then.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me.
Yeah. But that was cool. And you celebrated with them, I saw, right? You watched you went back to them recently, I thought.
Yes. So last year, again, this is 2019. So this was actually no, this was probably the beginning of 2020. Yeah, we went back because it was after we had shot the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was great going back and seeing everybody and having a ball, and they're doing great.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I definitely highly recommend people going and checking it out. It's on Hulu, it's on NBC, and all that. But it was a great episode. I mean, like
Thank you.
it was super fun. The Cheddar, the
Yeah,
Cheddar the dog getting kidnapped, and I mean, it had to be super fun to write. Was that something? Was that more? I mean, like you said, he's riding on top of a car at one point. They're doing fist fights. Was this more action packed than many of their episodes?
Yes. Well, let me say this. So our stunt coordinator, Emmy Award winning stunt coordinator, back to back Emmy Award winning stunt coordinator Norman Howell.
Awesome.
He's great. So like he was able. So Dan, who was our showrunner, kind of like had a vision. He was like, I just want this like cool fight scene. Mm-hmm. And so for people who don't know how TV gets written, normally writers go off and we write a version and then we bring it back and then like the room kind of chops it up and they so it your words basically are gone and it's like a collective whatever. Yeah. So but with this episode, just because we were kind of so late in the season and we were kind of like up against it, we collectively wrote. And so like Bo and I, we were in task like writing multiple scenes, but because of the time constraints, it was room written some of it. So like the fight sequence, Dan was kind of like, okay, like I have this vision and I want it to be at night and it's cars and like we want like it was insane. Yeah. And all right. And like after meeting, and then when you finally get there and finally like see it and like watching them rehearse it, and then when we see Andre out there, and I was like, oh wow, this is dope.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool. There was a lot that went into it. I'll tell you my favorite part of it, which is a small moment, and I appreciate it as someone who like writes myself and stuff, but the in the stroller scene in the store, when they were like, yeah, well, we can't do it after what happened last year. And then when like any other show would do a cutaway right there and like, a flashback, and there's no flashback. Nope. And I thought that was amazing. I was like, this is great. Like and they're like, oh, you're not going to show us? And like, they totally call it out and you're like, no, I can't legally show you. And you're like, oh my God, I thought that was a brilliant moment though.
And you want to know what happened last year?
Yeah.
No one knows.
No one knows. See, right.
No idea.
No, but it was just one of those like that's that moment everybody usually cuts away, and you're like, we're not gonna cut away.
Yeah, there are different kind of like, and I mean just me personally, like there are different shows that I've watched that have like great like kind of fuck yous to the audience to where it's like yes, but I still just kind of want to like have this for me.
Yeah.
And so when we put that in there, I was really hoping, I was like, please don't cut that. Please don't cut that. Please don't cut. And the fact that it had stayed, you're like, okay, this is great. And I'm so happy that you love it, because it's, it's just like, there are just like little things that you just kind of put in and hopefully they stay. Maybe they don't make it, but
yeah,
I made it and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Man, I loved it. It was a good moment. Now with all this, because it's such an awesome success, and especially to get like some like a review on it is super neat. Also, I mean, that's to get your first episode and then get that kind of notoriety is pretty cool.
The bar is high. That's the problem now. I feel
yeah.
I feel like now the next one, we're gonna have to cure cancer.
Right. Yeah. Well,
cure COVID.
There it is. That's the next episode.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine cures cancer.
That's it.
Well, I do want to talk about this because you've been with the show for a while, and I kind of want to talk about like your path as a writer. Because my brother is on the writing path. He's been out here for a while as well, and everybody has a different path along the way. And I know you did some of the assistant work and stuff on. You went through like office assistant, writer's assistant, the PA work, and everything.
Let me tell you, Season two started in the office, and I had a great time. It was great. It was the office PA, and office PA is basically the lowest person on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
So it's whatever needs to get done, you get it done, from getting lunch to setting up for table reads and for different meetings, and for getting gifts together, and for like coordinating different guests, and if they want like a tour of the set and this and that, and
Mm-hmm.
making copies for props, or making this and doing that, and making like, so whatever any other department needed,
Mm-hmm.
that's basically what you were doing. So
Yeah.
like every day was completely different. And I mean, even though it was for a TV show, like there was still like office and clerical stuff that needed to be done. So like a lot of that is what we were doing.
Yeah. Let me ask this: in that role, was there ever like a worst day that stood out, or like a hectic day where like everything, you had to get the bagels, but everything went wrong. The bagel shop was closed, and you're like,
oh my God. Yeah. I mean, okay. So here we go. The first time I had to get, so there was three of us. So Jeff Topolsky, who is still on the show, still working this season. He's a staff writer this season, season 8.
mm-hmm.
It was Jeff, me, and Christine. I think she's over at Pixar now. She's killing. She's a producer over there doing her thing. And so three of us, we were green, we were brand new, had no prior TV experience.
Don't know if it's gonna get you fired. Don't. No, I'm just kidding.
So
I'm kidding.
We were on a golf cart.
Yeah.
And like I was driving for whatever reason, and we like had like a bunch of stuff in the back. We were just moving stuff from like one office to another, right? And there was this paint can, like of spray paint, just on the floor. I didn't see it. I had no idea it was there. Roll over it. This can explodes under the weight of the golf cart.
Right.
Starts spinning and just starts spraying paint everywhere. Now,
my God.
It was office furniture that we were moving. I remember now because one of the pieces of office furniture got blue paint on it. Yeah. So like when we were like putting in the office, we turned it so you can only see the paint. And
my God.
Nothing was broken, everything was fine, but it was good. And then I think later on that day, or maybe that next week during the table read, when we were like transporting food back, one of the coolers fell off the back of the golf cart.
Oh my God.
And of course, that episode director was walking to the table read when it happened. And so like all these Coke cans go flying, and Jeff and I are sitting in the golf cart, and he's driving, and I'm like, slow down.
Yeah.
We both hop out, we start grabbing these Coke cans, and thankful that the director was like a cool guy. He started picking up cans too, and he was like, hey,
that's cool. Yeah.
But
that's cool.
To us it was
disaster. Yeah. I mean, everybody's around. Yeah. You're just all you're trying to do was impress and keep and not screw up.
I have one more story.
Oh yeah.
So this was my first time getting set lunch, and I had to get lunch. So it's like for like the actors and the background people and like the director and like assistant director. I forget Andy Samberg's lunch.
No.
Everyone else, I got everyone's lunch order. For whatever reason, I forget Andy Samberg's lunch. And then the AD sends me a text, and she was like, hey, like, where's Andy's sandwich or whatever it is? And I was like, I swear it's there. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, I checked my car, nothing was there.
Oh no.
So then I sent his assistant a text, and I was like, hey, because I'm freaking out, right? And the AD sent me a text, and she was like, well, hope you're looking for another job now, because so I was like, I'm freaking out. I'm like,
oh no.
What does Andy like? Because I was thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna go buy his lunch with my own money. Like I'm gonna go to McDonald's, or I'm gonna go somewhere just to get some food.
Oh man.
And she was like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. Like I'll give him half of my meal. Like he'll have no idea." And to this day, he had no idea.
Yeah. But to you, it's the big Andy Sandberg sandwich fiasco. It's like,
he, star producer of the show. And I'm like, this is the first time that I'm doing this. And I swear I double checked, but for whatever reason, it had to be his lunch that I forgot.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's a tough spot. So like I said, my brother, we went through the agency stuff and tons of assistant work. And there's always such high pressure. Like it's so easy to have that stuff happen. That's fun though. It's always fun to hear because there's always a story.
Yeah. Everyone has a story. You drop coffee, or you forget someone's credit card, or like there's it's like a bunch of stuff that you. But,
so then from office PA, you got you hung in there for a while, you worked your way up, and then worked into the writer's room from there.
Yeah. So going into the job, with some people, I was like, I want to write. Like that's the goal. The goal was like, I want to be a writer. And, as I worked on the show more, I was like, I want to be a showrunner. Like I want that job, that's what I want. I want to be the creator. I want to be the showrunner. So I was telling everybody. So everybody knew. And season 3, there wasn't an opening in the writer's room, so I stayed with the show. So it was office PA again. And in season 4, there was an opening, so we slid in writer's PA.
Mm-hmm.
Season 5, I was still technically the writer's PA, but they gave me a writer's assistant title, which was great because it allowed me to get into the union and kind of do other things. And so it was they blessings over that.
Awesome.
It was season 5, season 6. So now I'm the actual writer's assistant. Season 7 as well. And so now season 8, I'm the script coordinator. So technically, I'm not writing, but what our showrunner does, which is great, which, not every showrunner does this, because I've definitely seen and heard some horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's done since season 1 is he's given a script to what is called a freelance script to his assistants. It's one to help your career and be like, hey, this should help you along in your career.
Yeah. Oh, that's super cool. Yeah.
So, where I am now is a good position.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also ready to get staffed.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I guess that that's the next step, and to just keep pushing forward in that way. Now, when you're a writer's assistant, are you attached to one specific writer, or are you a writer's assistant for the room of writers?
Well, so every room is different, but for the most part, the writer's assistant, you're for the room of writers. And so if there's our showrunner, he has his own assistant, but we also have script coordinator, we have a writer's assistant. And when we were doing our job in person, we had a writer's PA who would essentially you would go grocery shopping, and so you would get snacks and stuff, and you would do the coffee run, and you would do the lunch orders and stuff like that. And you would fill in where you needed. So if we were doing multiple rooms where we needed someone else taking notes, then you would hop in there and take notes. And so it was that's the position that kind of gets you ready for the writer's assistant position, which is you're in there taking notes. And if a writer needs something, if they need hey, I want to see notes from this episode, or if I want to see whatever, then you kind of pull up just stuff that they would need.
Nice.
But again, however the showrunner wants to run their show, and whatever they want the writer's assistant to do, that's what the writer's assistant is doing.
Yeah, totally. That's super cool. Now, something I noticed too is that's kind of neat, and you are coming up, working your way up through a network television show, which I think is different maybe than what somebody coming up through a streaming service show might experience, because this show's been on, what is it, 8 seasons now, right?
Yeah, this is gonna be season 8.
Yeah. But when you think about it, like, I don't know that like you get that same longevity with every streaming show that's out there, you know,
Well,
to get in and grow with the show.
true, true. One, yes. So like one, I was definitely lucky. I was definitely blessed, but I think it was also one of those things where I was like in the right place at the right time, but I was also doing the right things.
Totally. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
but so I mean, okay, so like how network now, how it used to be 22 episodes, and now we're down to 10, 8,
Mm,
13, 12, or kind of like to matching that streaming service situation.
sure. Yeah.
uh it's almost the same in the sense that like shows aren't going as long now unless
Mm,
you're a Chicago med, a Chicago PD, a Chicago
right.
fire, or a SV, a Law and Order. Like you're that type of procedural. Sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, but like because like what I've read, especially now, is that like Shonda Rhimes, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
she'll sell the show and she'll like all we're gonna do is 4 seasons, or
Mm-hmm.
even like Mike Shore, he was like all we're gonna do is 4 seasons. Like
Yeah.
we don't need that. So
Yeah.
I again was blessed that our show was able to do that, because yes, a lot of shows aren't doing that, but even network is kind of going the way of streaming services now too, to where
Mm.
you have The Good Place that only did 4 seasons, and
Yeah.
it is
Yeah,
hard
totally.
to go that route the way that I did with one show.
Yeah.
You don't have the
I mean, that's so tough because you like, yeah, you have that with some of those shorter shows where they're only going, you know, 2, 3, 4 seasons. You know, when you're on those writing groups, yeah, you have to jump and find the next gig,
yeah,
which is
it's
tough.
scary,
So
man.
yeah,
It's
it's like,
scary.
yeah, when I saw, like, I was like, that's, you know, so it is interesting that it's changing to mirror streaming, because it makes
Mm,
it so much harder, and you
yeah.
know everything's, and for something that's a little more network and grounded, it's also typically filmed more studio space or local,
Mm.
where some of these other things are jumping, you know, to different parts of
Right.
town, and you know,
They're
I'm
going
seeing some that are shot in one place and
Atlanta.
edited in a different place. Post production's in New York, but it's filmed in
Mhm.
Atlanta, and you know, it got written in LA. So it's like,
Yeah.
um, for
I
anybody
mean,
trying to come up through the system, it's hard to follow a show sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, but I will say this.
say
There
it.
are so many more avenues, in the sense of, because you have the Hulu, you have the Disney Plus, you have like Apple who's making TV, you have
Yeah.
Facebook who's making TV, IMDb is making TV. So like there's these all these different platforms who are making TV and or making some type of content that needs writing.
Hmm.
So like there's like, yes, you can't necessarily stay with one thing, but the opportunity, it's still there. It's just there in a different context, and it's just like a different landscape. It's really more gig based. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah.
gone is the like 9 to 5 Cheers, where you had 9 seasons, and you were going into a job for 9 months, and you knew you were getting picked up, and so you knew you were going to work and this and that. Kind of like when you're at a banking job for 20 years, like you know what it is.
Yeah.
Versus now, where it's like this is kind of like Uber space, to where it's like you don't know if you're getting picked up next season. So you're in this hustle mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's totally pros and cons to all of it. You know, it's like sometimes I feel like the dream would be do that that sitcom that shoots 3 camera in a studio. It shoots 9 to 5. You're
Mhm.
done. You don't shoot the weekends, but you know, because a lot of the other ones that are going like single cam and stuff, and all these other things, you know, they're shooting early mornings, late nights, and it's, I was like,
I
man,
mean, but you know what's funny? They are bringing back multicams, and even like
yeah,
Netflix has about 3 or 4 multicams, and they're about to air like another 3 or 4 multicams. So, and I know like COVID has kind of like messed that up with the live studio audience and everything,
yeah,
but it's cheaper, it's easier to shoot, And I feel like, especially now, studios are like, look, we got to save some money. So
Yeah.
how can we get this cookie cutter television?
Yeah. I got to imagine it's got to be like shooting in a studio would be easier to contain for COVID and stuff. And maybe we do like NBA style virtual fans.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, because
that would be that would be so distracting.
Oh yeah, it's I mean, we've seen it because Kelly Clarkson, she was doing it on her show, and you have these like talk shows who have these virtual fans in there.
Oh, I haven't
And
seen this. That's a thing?
So like when like Ellen came back, and when like all these like different talk shows that had live studio audiences, when like, all right, well, I guess we gotta like make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they just had people like Skype, or they had people Zoom.
Yeah.
They were just watching it like they were watching an NBA game.
That's crazy. Yeah. I didn't think that was a thing. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. The whole COVID thing's changed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how has it changed the writing side of things? You said you've been working from home since like December last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, that was just because we were like, because we were done for season 7, so we were on hiatus, and I was just like, I'm not gonna work like on a pilot or anything.
Sure.
So I was like, I'm just gonna stay home, and luckily, I didn't have to leave. So
so is it a Zoom room for writers now? Is that how that's?
Yeah, and it sucks.
Yeah,
it's
got to be. Yeah, it's got to be a different dynamic for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. It has made the job of taking notes easier.
Sure.
For the sense of you can, I mean, we didn't record any of them, but like there's different programs that you can have that just kind of like help dictate whatever people are saying. So you kind of have that going, and you kind of take your own notes or whatever. Yeah. So it was nice in that sense. But in the sense of like, coming up with stuff and going back and forth, like it's not the same.
Yeah, the energy's got to be different, just I mean, I could see people even just being relaxed in your own home, in your own space. I imagine your energy trying to create is a little bit different, and a little less inspired at times.
Yeah, because you really need like a room. Like you really, I know it sounds weird, but like when you're in it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like I'm talking to the writers right now, to like the other, like comics in a green room. You can't recreate that. Like you try to do it on a Zoom, but you can't, because it's not the same. It's not. You need the energy, you need the flow. Like there's something about comedy that it has to be,
Yeah. Because it's the directness, and there's, I don't know, I think there's a little bit of discomfort in comedy, and just being, I think, face to face, like creates the different tension and stuff that comedy needs. Yeah, that's weird. And who knows when we're going to go back, because
hopefully knows? Soon.
Yeah. But hey, we'll see. Until then, we got Zooms. So you mentioned, like, so from here, like, is showrunner kind of the end goal for you? Was that like the dream job?
Yeah, like, and I'll say this because I feel like I should just say everything publicly, because like a lot of stuff that I've said kind of like has started to come true. So
yeah,
I want 10 shows on TV at the same time, like what Greg Berlanti has over at the CW, which is I think it's like 14. Like he which is crazy because you aren't writing really. Yeah, but just to cut, like to have that empire that, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe call it just me being vain, or just be like, I just want to see my name on screen 14 times in a week or whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's the Kobe Bryant thing of like, I want to be Oprah. Like, I want a bigger thing than, I don't want to be just a basketball player. I want the network or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And you know what it is now, because like I was thinking about this actually, like preparing for our conversation.
Yeah.
I think I just want to have a platform for my friends, and just have like platforms for people who I think are funny.
That's cool.
Because like this is funny. I don't think I've ever told you this, but my first pilot that I wrote
Mm-hmm.
I have a character, and I was like, you know what? I want Ryan to play this character.
Nice.
So if it
I like.
involved,
Well, now I'm going to start pushing harder. I'm like, all right. I'm like paying thousands of dollars to promote this podcast. Get it out here. Get this idea. No, that's awesome. And that's
like I'm not saying that because I'm on your podcast, but just because I remember like when and granted, like I started writing this thing 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But like I remember like when because just your look, I was like, this is perfect. Like this is what like I just had for the character.
No, that's cool. Hey, I like that.
Yeah,
but you gotta write for each other, and I think it is about the community and stuff like that, and I think that's cool to like want to bring up other people and stuff, and that's that's part of what inspired this podcast is, and I'm sure the same with the one you were running at VHL is like, you just creating an outlet to share everybody else's stories and work with other people, and just giving that a platform, which is pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, the showrunner thing is interesting because I don't know a lot of people on a showrunner path. So like, I don't know how you just take like how do you show your authority like without overstepping the bounds. Like, hey, I'm gonna run this real quick. Start calling shots without stepping on toes.
So like I've and probably just like a quiet mentoring thing to where I think like they don't even know that I'm doing this, but like I like look at stuff that they post and like stuff that they kind of talk about and that they go through, like if they go on live or whatever, like I try and hop on, or if they're on Clubhouse I try and follow whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a couple writers. One is Ben Corey Jones, who I've never met, but I actually ran into him when I was living at my old apartment downtown.
Uh-huh.
I was out walking my dog and he was on a scooter. I remember just like walking past him and I looked at him and I was like, Ben? And he looked at me and he was like, and then I was like, hi, I'm Nick Purdue. And he was like, I know who you are, which is crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So anyways, but I say that because he was on a showrunner path. So, it's like, I think it's like once you get in and really start writing, and once you're kind of like in there and like, because like I know that the WGA has like a portal, I want to say online, but like, has like a, I don't know what the word is, but has
but like a guidelines essentially of like something along that.
Has an outline on
how
you can
that never happens in Hollywood. I didn't think there were guidelines to how to.
Yeah, but I mean, or just like what you need to do in order to qualify for like whatever.
But that's super cool. I didn't even know that existed because I feel like so much of Hollywood is a guess, and there's so many times that everybody's path is different. So there's no right, there's no wrong, which also means there's not a whole lot to go by, which is always part of what's fun about sharing stuff like this of different ways up. Because like I said, my brother's kind of on the writing path and he's been an assistant for numerous people, but his writing path is so much different than even what yours is. And, so and different from the next person's. And so it's fascinating. Speaking of another writing path that has crossed paths with yours, is I just reached out to Carl Tart recently. And he was like, and I told him you were coming on. He's like, so you guys both crossed paths working on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. And here, where we are in Hollywood, even now, there isn't a lot of Black folks in writers' rooms. And I mean, one thing I will say about Brooklyn is that there has been at least one or two people of color in the room on various seasons.
That's awesome.
So like, and another writer, Phil Augusta Jackson, who again, who's I really want him to be a showrunner because he's right there. But
Yeah.
and like the guy who kind of brought me in, Prentice Penny, who is showrunner of Insecure. So
Nice.
I don't want to say Carl's going to be a showrunner,
Yeah.
but you know,
You don't want to jinx it, Carl.
I don't want to jinx it. But if
But
Carl
yeah.
doesn't become a showrunner, I'll be the showrunner for the both. But anyway, Carl's dope and Carl's super talented, funny as hell. LA kid, Clipper fan, you know what I mean? That's my guy.
Yeah. Because you're from LA, right? You were born and raised here. Yeah. That's awesome. And a Clippers fan. Oh,
7 of us.
What's that?
There's 7 of us who are born and raised from LA who are still here. Everyone else left.
It's just 7 total.
Yeah.
In LA. I tell people this, like I was born here. I wasn't raised here. And that's where
were you raised?
I had no choice. I was born in Simi Valley, but I moved when I was like 6.5 to Virginia, and I grew up in Virginia, and then I moved back here about 10 or so years ago.
Okay.
So,
but you know, like you still got like flavor, and you know, like there are worse places than Virginia. Like Virginia's great.
It was great, and we lived just outside the city and stuff like that, and it was a great place to be raised. But I feel like in my heart, even as a like a 7-year-old kid, I wanted to be back in California. And like it's funny just having come back and gotten into entertainment. I'm like, man, what if I never left? You know, and so it's interesting. Growing up here, do you feel like that ever? Was it any benefit to your where your like career has gone now, or is it kind of a wash? Like I don't know. As somebody who missed the major part of networking as a kid and a teenager here, did I miss anything? Is that what that's what?
Okay. Well, I will say this. Not only actually, okay, one person that I grew up with is in entertainment, and she works at Access Hollywood. She's a producer over there, killing it. It was even nominated for an Emmy. Like she's killing it.
Wow.
But just literally just one.
Wow.
Out of I don't know how many, you know, like kids that, you know, went to my high school, or kids that, you know, that went to middle school with or whatever. So, you know, I don't think that you have a advantage being from LA. You may even honestly, you may have a disadvantage.
Really?
Because people like just assume like, oh yeah, well you're from LA, so you know versus people who come out to LA, you know, and like have this idea of what LA is.
Yeah.
And then they try to like conform to, you know, whatever it is. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think because I started comedy, doing sketch comedy in college, and then started doing like improv and sketch and stuff in Richmond after I graduated school, and then having to move here, it's like completely starting over. So I didn't know so I could see somebody who went to USC and started doing the Groundlings in college. Yeah. Like, so, I mean, it all depends what you do with it and stuff, you know, and like, but it sounds like also not everybody you go to school with is just jumping into entertainment. Most of them are doing YouTube and TikTok.
And again, this is, you know, because I graduated high school like in 2005.
Yeah.
And like just thinking about it, not like I didn't even want to do anything in entertainment in high school. Like I wanted to do hotel management. Like that was my kind of like, I want to own hotels, and that's for whatever reason, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. How interesting. That's cool.
That just kind of switched like later on after I turned 21 and I was going out to the clubs and doing this and yada, 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 you know, and then you kind of get around people and kind of like see the entertainment lifestyle, I guess. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's what this is.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's kind of what like turned me. And I was like, okay. So then like once I did that, then I did all my networking and all my, you know, so
yeah.
If you went to school in, studied film and this and that, then yeah, you definitely have that leg up. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you didn't, then you just got to network your ass off.
Yeah. I mean, it never stops.
Yeah.
Do you still find yourself nitpicking hotels now when you go and you're like, I would have done this different?
Yes. Well,
you're a connoisseur of like I would give this a 4-star. Who gave this a 5?
I'm gonna tell you what my girlfriend and I watch is Hotel Impossible, where Anthony, I forgot how you say his last name, but it's this guy who
Bourdain. Is it that guy?
No,
I don't know. That's the only Anthony on TV I know.
he was like a hotel guy. Like he like goes into hotels and like fixes them and like gets them out of the red and like like makes them profitable.
Yeah.
So I watch that a lot, but because like I don't know anything about hotels. Like if it's clean, if it's nice, it's like I'll watch that to kind of like check my room anytime I go somewhere.
Yeah.
But, like if it's as long as stuff is shiny, stuff works.
I'm not that picky, but I know like some people, yeah. I'm like, I'm here for one night. As long as I don't get bed bugs, I'm happy for the most part. But then you do get some of those nice ones. You're like, this is luxury.
Oh yeah. No, like me and one of my friends went because we were supposed to go for my other friend's birthday, and he bailed on us. So just me and one of my boys, we went to Vegas, and we were at Aria, and he was like, let's just like ball out and like do the penthouse. And I was like, nah, dude. He was like, nah, man, come on, let's do it. So we did it. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And I can't stay in a regular room now because
you ruined it.
Yeah, because
like shot too high.
Once you do it, once you do it, you're like, this is how the other half lives. What?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that.
No.
Yeah. We stayed at one in New Orleans on the way out here, driving back from Atlanta last year. And man, it was awesome, but it was so high up and so scary. Like, yeah. I was like, I like my hotels a little bit. Like the view's great, but man, you almost get sick up there.
No, but it's like I love a good skyscraper though.
Yeah,
like
a little bit of sway, just a little bit of sway.
No, but it's the floor to ceiling windows, and
yeah.
Like sure, if there's an earthquake, because we live in LA, if there's an earthquake, you're probably not gonna make it.
And you were super unlucky. You were just super unlucky. Wrong time, wrong place. Yeah.
You should have been down in the lobby when the earthquake hit.
Right. But yeah, that's just unlucky. Yeah. You overslept and you dead.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I just have this fear of getting stuck in the elevator when the big one hits.
Oh God.
Like I the worst case is you're like in a parking structure or something where like no one is really, and
yeah.
Hits and it's just you because you're like, oh, I want to go to Target. Nah, you should have stayed home.
That's a real thought out here. Like it really is. I had, and I made a joke about it a while ago, but like, I always thought like the worst place for me to be would be like a shitty day job, and to like, I'm like, I don't want to die. Like I was waiting tables at this place in Sherman Oaks, and I feel like it was right after one. And I was like, and there was a big building right next to the restaurant I worked at. And I was like, if this thing crashes down on me and I die at this shit job, I'm going to be so pissed.
Right?
I'm going to be dead, but I'll be pissed just as it's happening.
Yeah.
Like, this is the way.
Yeah. No, like those are things that I think about. And again, living in LA, like you definitely like if you're on Laurel Canyon, like now I'm like, yo, if the big one hits and I'm sitting here in traffic, it's someone's house.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere to go. Like
there's just nowhere to go.
And you're just like, all right, well, shit, this is it.
Yeah.
Right, okay, Jesus, this is how.
It's wild. There's weird things to worry about out here. That and the fires. The fires are constant now.
I mean, that's it. Fires.
It's all worth it though. It's worth it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you seen these people out here? We're number one in COVID cases. Is it worth it?
Okay, it'll pass. So many people have left. So many people have left this year. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But we just got back. We had moved away for 2 years and we got back right.
How was that?
In February, just in time to lock down. So we're not leaving again. But yeah, it was good. It was a good chance to.
Why did you guys leave, if you don't mind me asking?
We were chasing the credit. To be completely honest, we were chasing credits. I don't know. We were out here for like 8 years. I found ourselves spinning our wheels a little bit, and just felt like we needed a change of pace in a lot of ways. Heard a lot of different things about the market in Atlanta, and just kind of wanted to explore it. And also my family being back east, it was a good chance to get back and spend some time in driving distance to home.
Yep.
So that was cool to be able to visit a little bit more. And then, we auditioned a ton out there for TV and film, which we weren't doing here. I was getting some commercial work, but I wasn't really auditioning for TV and film yet. And then,
was it easier to audition out there, or did you see that a lot of people kind of did what you guys did and went to?
It was definitely
Atlanta.
Even the 2 years that we were there was like a flood of people coming. So we were trying to be on like the front end of it,
right?
And we weren't quite as in the front as we thought. We're still like, there was a lot of people coming over those next 2 years, and people I'd known from LA. I was like, oh, you did it. Oh, you're here too. Okay.
We're neighbors.
Yeah. And it was cool, but I do feel like they don't shoot a lot of comedy out there, which I wanted my focus to be, even in comedic acting, is like, I think that's my focus. And, to be on a sitcom would be like, that's the direction I'd like to go. So I think realizing there were only a few that really shot out there, and the comedic movies that shot. What's that?
Was it only like Tyler Perry's stuff that was out there? There was like for sitcom wise, or
that the Robbie was one that came through on Comedy Central. It's like a brand new show. It's pretty new.
It was like a basketball show.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Not a ton. And but we auditioned a lot for a lot of different stuff, and it was great. And I feel like I've been getting more auditions now, being back, having that experience and stuff. And I still have my agent there, so it's kind of a win-win.
There you go.
So lots of good things, but it was a nice chance to break things up.
Change
Just try something different and come back with some new life. So it was cool.
Yeah, and now you're auditioning via Zoom.
Yeah, now we're just Zooming, so we don't even need to be here at the moment.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But one good thing is that most of the stuff out there was self-tape auditions. So coming back here and having self-tape auditions ramp up even more, I felt like we were definitely more prepared for it. So that's been nice.
Yeah, because you guys were really doing the comedy skit game. Because I remember you guys were putting stuff out, and you just put something up today, right?
Yeah, yesterday. But yeah, it's all the same. But yeah, and I think we're trying to, for this year, I think we want to kind of head back in that direction of just putting out more content and getting back into writing and just creating and stuff, especially while stuff's locked down. So we will see.
Yeah.
I have one more.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I have one more. We're starting to come up on time, but there is something I found interesting recently that I'd like to pick your brain about. Because I noticed you've always been pretty big on social media and pretty involved. But it looks like lately you've purged your social media to where you have like 15 posts. Like, and my girlfriend just did the same thing recently. So I was like, what was your, there was a conscious thought behind it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it was one, I was tired of it. And I mean, I still am. I'm tired of Instagram. Like I deleted Facebook. I took down a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But it was one, Andre Brower had like found some of my stuff and he was like watching some of my videos. That was one thing. And I was like, okay, like let me like see what I post it, because like
Totally.
5 years ago, it's completely different than where we are today, and so
Oh yeah.
jokes back then don't hit the same now. And so
Totally.
a lot of it, yes, was cleaning up stuff. Some of it was just like, okay, like that wasn't that funny, like
Yeah,
there
yeah.
were times where like this, like, is it that funny, or
Right. Like, don't watch the early stuff. That was
right,
I've grown since then. Yeah.
right, because especially like as a comedian, like, and a lot of my stuff was just vulgar, because like I didn't care, like, and I thought that is what would
Totally.
get the laughs.
Shock value and stuff like, yeah,
Right.
totally.
And it's easy to have a cuss word at the end of your joke to really give you that little extra punch, or give you that little, like, and I called her a boom.
Yeah,
And
right.
but it's like, you don't need it unless
Yeah.
like that's your thing, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, all right, I've adjusted my life, and
Yeah.
like, what do I want to portray? And then I started seeing that, like, when you have like famous people start to follow you, but then also like NBC follows me now, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so maybe I should
Delete
calm this
all.
down a little bit. let me just
Totally.
yeah.
It makes sense 100%. And I think more of us should be probably doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, my Facebook, I started in college. Like, I have no idea what's on there. That's like 2 years ago.
Right.
Just to like not age myself. That was like 6 months ago. I just graduated. No, but
because like we did this at work. It was like season, I forgot what season it was, but like we all, it was the assistants. It wasn't any of the writers, but it was just, we all just kind of went through our social media, and I was like, okay, like, what on here is questionable? We should delete this. Or like, because like I had tweets that I would just let fly, just because back in 2010, Twitter back then, it was a wild west, and you didn't care.
Oh yeah,
you were just letting stuff fly. Like no one was retweeting really. Like they maybe liked it, but you were just tweeting just to have a good time.
Yeah.
And then like now, I still tweet recklessly sometimes.
Yeah.
But funny, or it has some like like there's like a meaning to it. Like I'm not just tweeting just to let stuff fly. So it's you grow up. That's all it is.
Totally. But yeah, man, like this culture that we're in like especially cancel culture and stuff like that, like it's risky to have that stuff up there. So I mean, it's a good move. It was just I noticed it because I was like, man, this guy he was all over the social, like he was and doing all kinds of stuff, and
it was a lot of it too was just like photos of me, and I'm like, this is narcissistic. I'm like, is this really like did I really want to like be an influencer? Like is that really what I wanted?
I think we all went through. Most of us, I think, went through that phase at one point.
Yeah.
Especially like when
I'm living in LA, like that's because that's what it is. Like people come to LA to become influencers, and so like you're already here, and you're like, all right, well,
yeah,
fuck it, I guess I'll.
Well, then you see those people who seem like influencers, and like taking off and stuff. There's people that also seem like influencers, and then if you really do your research, they're so much more. Like I think like was it King Batch? Like is somebody who I think would a lot of people would look at as just an influencer, but then you realize like, oh, he was doing sketches and YouTube and all that before like Vine or whatever blew him up. So
and then you turn on Netflix and there's like 12 movies with King Batch in it.
Yeah. But a lot of people just see him probably as like, oh, he's an influencer who got famous, not somebody who was grinding and just happened to take advantage of a platform at the right time.
Right.
Or something.
But also too, I mean, and just using King Batch as an example, because like I went back and watched some of his old videos. He has some like great sketches.
Yeah.
And a lot of his like early vlogs of just like him with, you can see like the Logan Pauls and the like Jake Pauls and some of these like Amanda Cerny's and these like influencers who are big names now. Kind of like back then, everyone was just grinding, kind of just like, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
They got on this like internet wave and really kind of led the charge and, changed the game. So
yeah, for better or worse. There's
I mean,
some for better, some
right.
Yeah.
You know, we see who's on Netflix now, and we see who's not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
we could use more King Batches and less Logan Pauls, probably.
Right.
Yeah. But that's cool. I think it's definitely a good move, and especially moving forward and trying to, it's all about growth, and you don't want something years back to blow up in your face. So
yeah, because it happened to Kevin Hart. If it happened to Kevin Hart, it could happen to any of us.
Seriously, yeah.
You know,
that was just a joke. He said, seemed to make sense. Seemed funny. Came back and got him.
Pull it. All you gotta do is pull that one tweet. You know, you take it out of context because you don't look at the 3 tweets previous or the 3 tweets after. You know, you just pull that one tweet.
Yep.
All right. Well,
You cut a couple words out. You really condense it to take what you want. No, to twist it. Just no. That's cool. This has been super fun. To moving forward, since it is a new year, what's on your big plans for moving forward this year?
So I finished a couple pilots, so it's just kind of like my first draft of them. So kind of getting those tight and like ready to hand out and to get staff somewhere. That's the first goal. The first goal is to finish out this season of Brooklyn, because we're almost done. So
nice.
Hopefully we can get started, and COVID doesn't shut us down.
Oh God, fingers crossed. I know.
Yeah, like us and every other television
it's
show.
Iffy right now. It's weird. Yeah,
because like we were supposed to start back next week, and they pushed us, and so again, hopefully we don't get pushed again, and we can do this. And I'm tired of watching reruns like everyone else is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of want to get a house.
Yeah.
So
that's a dream, man. That's a dream.
That's like kind of like where my head's at right now. So for me, finish out this season, get a job on a show, writing, and you know what, hit the stage if we can.
If it happens, man. Yeah.
Open mics though, like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Just
to flex and get out there again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
man.
end the year in a house or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I like that. That. Well, hey man, I wish you the best. I wish all those things for you this year, man. It's super exciting to see your success, and having followed your journey and stuff along the way, and watching your different content over the years and stuff. It's really cool to see this you land this one, and again, it was an awesome episode. I definitely recommend everybody checking it out, and we look forward to more from you. Nick, I appreciate you coming on. Everybody follow at the Nick Purdue. You'll see his 15 posts and future things coming. But keep an eye on this guy, man. He's one of the great ones out here. So Nick, thank you very much. I appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks for tuning in to A Bit Unraveled. I'm Ryan Hansinger. We'll see you next week.